Good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, June 16th, 2023. And because it's Friday, June 16th, 2023, just because it's Friday, actually, it's Book Review Friday. And over the last few weeks, we've been reviewing Grit by Angela Duckworth. It's an amazing book that basically talks about why some people succeed and why some people don't. Today, we are going to talk about chapter 8, and hopefully we'll be able to finish chapter 8, 9, 10, all the way through to the end. So again, I don't know how many of you have read this book. I hope you've read this book. I hope you have, at the very least, skimmed through it. If you haven't, I strongly suggest you familiarize yourself with the book. Anyway, the purpose of the, actually, let me do this. Let me quickly review. Let me review the chapter 7. We spoke about desire for improvement, continuous improvement, the Japanese term Kaizen. So everybody hopefully got something from that. So chapter 8 is, the goal of the chapter is skill progression. The first stage of in skill progression, the first stage of skill progression is interest, which is you have to be interested in the subject matter. If you are not interested in the subject matter, there is no point. The second part is practice, continuous self-improvement, which we discussed last Friday. And the third part is passion. And passion is influenced by interest and purpose. So if you are a person who is gritty, you will have both. You will be passionate. It's interesting. I run into people who are like, why are you screaming? Why are you so excited? I'm like, why wouldn't I be excited? I'm passionate about what I'm doing. How can you be passionate about something and not be excited? How can you be passionate about something and not be on fire? So you need to be a person who is on fire for your purpose. And I mean, my level of passion isn't even that intense. I see some people who are passionate about crazy things and they are 10 times more turned on than I am, for lack of a better term. But you have to be, if you're going to be gritty, you have to have both passion, you have to have interest and purpose. When you have those two things, you're passionate. So every example of grit, everybody who exemplifies grit that Duckworth interviewed has an overarching goal that mentions, overreaching goal, has an overreaching goal that mentions other people. The idea of purpose is the idea that what we do matters to other people other than ourselves. To her, purpose is the intention to contribute to the well-being of others, make other people win in whatever they're doing. Evolution dictates that the human need for pleasure and meaning or purpose. Food and sexual interaction, both of which can be pleasurable, are necessary for survival. If you don't eat, you die. If you don't reproduce, well, your lineage will die out. So connecting with others also ensures our survival because it makes us part of a protective society. Pleasure is important to everyone, but gritty people are much more motivated to seek meaningful, other-centered life. In most cases, their top-level goals go beyond their own pleasure. Like, what can I do to make the world a better place? What can I do to enhance the life of others? Not what can I do for myself? Can I take a vacation? Can I eat fancy? No. They go beyond that. Also, people who feel their work is a calling, which is they're on a divine mission, instead of a job or a career, are greater than those who do not. Like we've been around, I've been around for 18 years. And I've seen people come into this business and I've seen people go. And the one thing I've noticed is there are people who treat this business as if it's a job. And there are even people who treat this business as if it's a career. Those people never go as far as people who treat this business like it's a calling. Now, when you see people who treat this business like a calling, you're like, what the heck? Gary Cornegay is a great example. He treats this business like a calling. He's like the super evangelist of this business. Chris Coop, the same thing. Most of the great leaders, Miguel Illich, the same thing. Mr. Barragan out in California, the same thing, and so on and so forth. They treat this like a calling. And then you see people who treat this like a job. With the people who treat this like a job, even the basic, most mundane things, such as setting appointments, they don't have any passion behind it. Hi, are you keeping your work options open? No, okay, bye-bye. And then you have those who treat it like a career, like, okay, it's 9 o'clock, I'm going home. That's it, I'm done. I haven't set my appointments, but it's 9, I have to go. You can't do that if you are going to be huge. If you're going to be huge, you have to treat this like a calling, like this is your mission. Like this morning, I woke up to pray. Prayer came in at about 3:44 a.m. I woke up about 3:40 to do ablution or what have you. And I could not even, and I went to bed at 2 a.m. And after that, I couldn't even sleep because I was so excited. I'm like, today is going to be a great day. These are the things I need to do. These are the things I have to get done. Boom, 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 boom. Couldn't sleep. Came back this morning, already on the grind, because it's a calling. And I said to myself, what if I die today? I mean, I'm not dying, but I'm saying, what if I die today? I'm like, well, at least I'll die knowing that I have fought the good fight till the end of my days. You have to be that way. So again, people who have a calling are more satisfied with their jobs and their lives because they know they have a purpose. Now, callings don't have anything to do with the work a person does. Please remember this. And that's why I said you guys need to read this book, because it's an amazing book. Callings don't have anything to do with the work a person does. Nothing. Let me say that again. Callings have nothing to do with the work a person does. They are entirely related to how that person feels about their work, which means setting appointments, being on appointments, that's not the calling. The calling is how you feel about certain appointments and being on appointments. You can be, and according to the book, you can be a garbage collector. And you can feel as great about that if it's your calling as a person who is an open heart surgeon. If that is your calling. Callings can develop over time. Sometimes it can take years, or it can even take decades. There was a former senior vice president with the New York City Transit Authority, Joe Leader, that's his name, Leader. He started working on subway tracks right out of college. He finished college, first job working on subway tracks. At the time, it was just a way for him to make money. He needed to make money and pay his bills. He eventually became interested in the work and began viewing it as a long-term career. Then he felt that his work was his contribution to New York City, and he was passionate about that. He found his calling. So again, guys, my calling is to make more people millionaires than anybody else. It's funny, and I'm not saying I have a big ego, because what I'm about to say might sound like a big ego, but I really think with what we're doing now, when the history of this company is written, they're going to talk about Art Williams started Primerica 1 and Tim Alpha started Primerica 2. Because we're about to make this thing go back to the kind of numbers Art Williams had, which is tens of thousands of people coming in every month, changing lives like there is no tomorrow. So anyway, Duckworth, the author of the book, spent the summer before her senior year in college working at an enrichment program for disadvantaged middle school students. She liked the experience so much that she and her friend founded their own program the following year. The program is still there as far as I know, and it's known as Breakthrough Greater Boston. It's been around for 20 years. Developing the program was obviously hard work for Duckworth. She said she and her partner had to prospect to ask for donations because their purpose was to help others, not themselves. And she said the hardest part was knocking on doors to get those donations. But she said because it was a calling, her and her partner found the gumption to knock on doors. She had to literally go prospect to get money to fund the program. But because it was a calling, she did it. So over here, if your calling is to build a huge business that helps millions of others, you have to find the gumption to go talk to people. So Duckworth's summer was spent working with disadvantaged children, and it made her want to pursue teaching. But after several years in the classroom, she realized she wasn't completely fulfilled by her career choice. So she shifted into psychology and finally found her purpose, which is using psychology or psychological science to help children thrive. There's a developmental psychologist named Bill Damon, and he says, and this is in the book, people who say they have a purpose have two things in common: a role model who showed perseverance on the behalf of others, and a personal realization that they could make a difference in the world. So again, guys, if you want to have a purpose, and again, you should be taking notes, but this is one of the things you need to write. If you want to have a purpose, you must have two things going for you. One, you have to have a role model who showed perseverance on behalf of others. Perseverance on behalf of others. If you don't want me to be a role model, that's fine. Even though I know I show you a ton of perseverance, there are plenty of role models in this business. Go find any of your choice. And two, you have to have a personal realization that you can make a difference. And I'm telling you, each and every single one of you here can make a difference. Each and every single person listening to the sound of my voice can make a difference. So Duckworth has 3 recommendations for people wishing to cultivate a sense of other-centered purpose. The first is to figure out how the work you already do can positively impact society. We're in financial services. We help people become properly protected, debt-free, financially independent. I mean, I think that's self-evident. 2, adjust your current work so it aligns with your core values. 3, find a purposeful role model. Again, the role model part is not difficult. What we do help society, not difficult. Your current work has to be in alignment with your core values. What's your current work? If you really ask me, the truth of the matter is in this business, your current work, your current work is to go find 2 or 3 key people to start with, and then you find a few more, and then you're good to go. All right, let's move on to chapter 9. Chapter 9 talks about the power of passion and the power of perseverance. Duckworth says gritty people have hope. Now, the hope she's talking about doesn't have anything to do with a belief in luck, but in a belief that their own efforts will improve their future. So again, what does hope mean according to Duckworth, Angela Duckworth in this book? Hope means that people believe that what they're doing right now, what they're doing this moment, will make their future better. In other words, and these are my words, not her words, in other words, for their people who have hope are willing to give up their todays so they have a better tomorrow. Let me say that again. People believe that they're giving up their todays so they have a better tomorrow. Duckworth took a neurobiology class in the spring semester of her freshman year in college. She did not do well, and her teaching assistant told her to actually quit the class. You know what Duckworth did? She said, to hell with you, teaching assistant. I am actually going to make neurobiology my major. So what did she do? She started studying in a different way, and she started asking for help very often. She was knocked down numerous times, but what happened when she got knocked down? She stood back up. She ended the course earning a solid B. For those of you who have gone to school, obviously A is the highest, B is the next best. I mean, of course, there is A+, A-, but you get my drift. In 1964, Duckworth's future advisor, Mary Seligman, studied the connection between suffering and feelings of hopelessness in animals, which led to studies about clinical depression in human beings. And Marty. Marty learned that optimists are less likely to suffer from depression and anxiety than pessimists. Let me say that again. People who are optimistic are less likely to suffer from depression and anxiety than pessimists. Optimists are also more successful in their chosen careers. Seligman concluded that this was because pessimists assume any difficulties they encounter are permanent. Optimists see obstacles as temporary and conquerable. So in other words, pessimists see something as, that's it, it's over, I can't do anything else. Optimists see it as, I am going through this to get to where I am going. Most people who show immense grit are optimists. They view setbacks as learning experiences, not disappointments. Stanford University psychologist Carol Dweck has determined that people who have a growth mindset or believe they can improve their intelligence or capacity to learn new skills are more successful than those who have a fixed mindset or think their intelligence cannot be changed. People with growth mindsets are more likely to be emotionally and physically healthy and have strong relationships with others. You must have a growth mindset, people. Duckworth and Dweck worked together in a study that showed students with growth mindsets are greater than those with fixed mindsets. And again, guys, we're students of people. We're in this business. You run into people. So all these things, the thing about this book is all these things that Duckworth talks about, I have, and you probably have as well, I have seen them in real life play out in this Team Alpha or in Primerica as a whole. So the Knowledge is Power program, KIPP, schools focus on a growth mindset. The teachers are trained to praise students' effort rather than natural talent. You can be the most naturally talented person and put in no effort, and you will still not get ahead of someone who is not talented but puts in the effort. And I've told you guys this story before. I will never forget this story. I was in the 5th grade. And I came in, I think I was maybe the 7th person in the class at the end of the semester, or maybe the 5th. I don't remember exactly what number. And in my end of term report card, my the note or the message or whatever it was, my teacher wrote, has a lot of room for improvement, did not apply himself, or something along those lines. Meanwhile, somebody who came in, and my class had maybe 20 people, somebody who came in like 14th, teacher was like, amazing effort this semester. I'm sure you'll do great next semester. And I was like, how can I be like the 5th person in class and you're giving me such a horrible review while somebody who came in like close to the end, you're saying the person is doing great. And the man said, you did not apply yourself. You did not put in the effort. You're naturally talented. You can be the #1 person in class, which I had been in previous semesters, but you did not apply yourself. So there you go. Anyway, so I learned a lesson from that. Dweck's team has learned that children are more likely to develop a fixed mindset when their parents react to mistakes as though they are harmful and problematic. University of Colorado, a Boulder psychologist and professor, Steve Mayer, and his team learned that rats who experienced stress they could control were more adventurous than rats who experienced uncontrollable stress. They were also more resilient as adults. The same goes for humans. In other words, the conclusion is that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. We spoke about this yesterday. Jim Rohn said the same thing. It's the direction, it's not the wind, it's the direction of your sails that matters. Meyer worries about children who grow up in poverty, which is a type of stress they can't control. They are less likely to learn that their actions dictate what happens in their lives. Again, the same thing from what Jim Rohn said, and Jim Rohn probably died before any of this was even written. Meyer's work was probably done in 10, 15 years ago. So he says basically, children who grow up in poverty, which is a kind of stress they can't control, are less likely to learn that their actions dictate what happens in their lives. Guys, again, Jim Rohn said it. You determine the course of your life by taking action. Duckworth is also concerned about high-achieving adolescents who have never experienced failure or strife. She calls them fragile perfects. They know how to succeed, but not how to pick themselves up after they fall. Fall down 7 times, get up 8 times, guys. That has to be your philosophy. Something doesn't work, try again. The kind of stuff we've been through in Team Alpha in the last year alone, I don't need to tell you. Most of you know what happened. Some of us are still here. Some of us. Anyway, That's life. Backed by several scientific studies and realms of anecdotal research, Duckworth concludes that a fixed mindset results in pessimistic attitudes about the causes of one's failures and struggles. This pessimism causes people to give up on challenges or simply avoid them in the first place. That's why you have people who are extremely successful, and then something happens. I know a kid like that. This kid, as a young kid, was a super achiever, personable, adventurous, happy, go-getter, and then I don't know what happened to him. I mean, he's not my child, but then all of a sudden he became self-introverted, and I mean, now he's back to being the bubbly winner. But also it happens with adults. You see people that, they're so used to winning that all of a sudden they have a setback, and what happens? They can't pick themselves up. They simply avoid doing the things which they know worked in the past because maybe they feel pain. Like maybe they don't want to pick up the phone and call anybody because they feel pain. Oh my God, they'll say no to me. Guys, it's human nature. But again, Duckworth studied this. Conversely, people with a growth mindset are more likely to look at their challenges from an optimistic perspective because they believe failures can be overcome. They are more likely to persevere in difficult situations and are more likely to go after difficult goals. Like the late, great Aliyah said, if you fall or whatever, get yourself, dust yourself up, and I can't remember the words. Get up and dust yourself or something. But anyway, the point is, she said, keep on moving. So again, one of the concluding things in this chapter, chapter 9, is brains are malleable, which means they can be molded. Intelligence isn't fixed. She encourages readers of her book to do what? To do something we've told you guys to do, which is have affirmations and ask for help from others. Optimistic self-talk. You must have optimistic self-talk, which is pump yourself up. You are the best. You are the greatest. You are the most amazing. You are the most extraordinary. Tell yourself this all the time. And you must also ask others for help. Getting support from others is a good way to hold on to hope. All right, people, I thought we would be able to do more, but this book is so amazing that we've actually taken 3 weeks now to go through it. Next week, we'll go to the next chapter, which is chapter 10. My suggestion, again, you've had a whole month to read this book. Please read this book. This book is beyond amazing. All right, people, that's it for me. Obviously, we'll have M3 in the evening. As far as I know, I don't think our project will still be on, but if it is, we will let you know. But obviously, we have a great day today. Great things are happening for you. Great things are happening for Team Alpha. God bless Team Alpha.